Welcome to the latest episode of the Deeper Awake podcast. I'm your host, Drury. I'm a board-certified clinical hypnotherapist, spiritual seeker, and spiritual teacher. And this episode is all about how to use the tarot to speak to your subconscious mind. You might also call this episode the Can of Worms episode, because this topic discussed this way opens a lot of potential can of worms in a lot of potential areas. But I will just say that I don't care. Anybody who is upset or offended by the way I'm talking about the tarot, whether from a fundamentalist against side or a purist fundamentalist, that's not how you use it way, or a duh, that's the only way it works way. Either way, I consider those people gatekeepers, and if you've watched past episodes, you already know how I feel about gatekeepers. I'm into a lot of stuff. I'm into occult and esoteric things. I'm into Joseph Campbell and his monomyth and his hero's journey. I'm a hypnotherapist. And the through line that connects all of those things is the subconscious mind. Occult and esoteric topics, they all kind of point back to the thing that kind of powers, that is behind all of this stuff, is your subconscious mind. And it would describe the subconscious mind differently depending on where you're kind of looking. Joseph Campbell, the hero's journey, his monomyth was really a way to enter your subconscious mind and find the treasures to heal the world that existed there. And hypnotherapy is obviously all about delivering messages and solutions to the subconscious mind so that you can live better consciously. So the subconscious mind is the key. And, with hypnotherapy, like I said, it's about delivering messages to the subconscious. But if you're going to have a relationship with your subconscious, which I recommend, because my work is all about creating rapport. And when you have rapport with someone, you're never just talking to them. You're never just relaying stuff to them. You're also listening. You're also interacting with them. So if hypnotherapy is how you communicate messages to your subconscious, how do you listen to your subconscious? How do you get messages back from it? And I'm here to say there are a lot of different ways. There's recording your dreams and analyzing them. There's some intuition exercises. There's things like Chauvet's pendulum, which is really cool. There's all sorts of divination practices, but there's also the tarot. And I'm going to explain how you can specifically use the tarot to hear what your subconscious wants to say to you. And it's really simple. And I'm not, this video isn't here for the purpose of teaching you how to read tarot. If you want to be a tarot reader and read it for other people, although you could use this method to do that, that's not my point. My point is to give you a tool to figure out what your subconscious may be trying to say to you. And when I explain to you how to do it, you're going to be like, that's it? That's so simple. But sorry, it's not difficult, but I would say it's not easy. The thing that's not easy about it is making clear, honest, brave analysis of what you get from the cards. So here's what you do. Let's say you have a question about anything. Let's say why, and this is not my question, I'm just making this up. I'm happily married, have a 8-year-old son, so this isn't my question. But say your question is, why can't I seem to find someone to date? And so I'm not saying find a boyfriend or find a girlfriend, because who knows what you're into, and I don't want to make assumptions. Why can't I find someone to date? And so you would, after asking the questions, if you want to get dramatic about it, you could put your hand on the cards. And just, if you're watching the video version of this, I'm using a Thoth deck. The most common deck is called the Rider-Waite deck. And so when you think of tarot cards, that's usually what you think of. But there are literally tarot cards designed to be about and to represent everything. And so I don't, for this process, you could literally use any deck. You can use whatever deck you want. I use the Thoth deck because I'm studying it and I'm learning that it has tools other than divination that I'm very interested in. But so you take the cards. If you want to be dramatic about it, put your hand on the deck and ask the question, why can't I find anyone to date? And then give it a second and just really let that question soak into the cards. And take your hand off the deck and cut it. Cut the deck. So by cut it, I just mean split it into two pieces. And the bottom half, take the top card off of that and hold it up. And so I got the Prudence card, which the Eight of Wands. I'm sorry, the Eight of Wands card. And depending on what deck you have, it's going to look probably vastly different. The Thoth deck is very unique in how it looks. It was designed by Aleister Crowley and painted by a woman. I believe her name was Frida Harris. But it's very specifically designed. It looks like very few other decks. And so how you start interpreting is you look at the card and you, like I said, it's simple. You just ask, what does this card say to me? What is this card saying to me about the question I ask? And you may, if you're being too literal, you may look at it and be like, this says absolutely nothing about the question I ask. The Eight of Wands in the Thoth deck looks like a tree with 8 flowers, 4 on each side, and some leaves over it. And that says nothing to me about dating. And that's why you have to kind of get into your creative mind. You have to not look at this literally, but look at it figuratively. What could these images be representing? So a tree, the tree is winding and twisting. And so what might that say about your search for someone to date? It's kind of a winding, kind of a twisting path. It hasn't gone straight. It hasn't gone well. It's not, I started at A and I got to point B and there was the person I wanted to date. And so you can see this card as an acknowledgement of this search is not going to be a straight line for you. And so you also might look, and like I said, there are 8 flowers on this card that are growing out of this tree. And so you might look at that and say, well, there's a lot of things that have come out of this path. There's a lot of things that look like blossoms, look like potential blossoming relationships. There's 8 of them here, so that's not just a few. That means I'm probably going to have to go through a lot of dates before I get to the one I'm looking for. And what's interesting about this card is at the very top of it, there's a circle with a dot in it. And I know this because I'm studying the Thoth deck and it's based on Kabbalistic principles, and I'm studying those as well. I know that that dot inside of a circle represents Keter, which is like supreme consciousness. It's in the esoteric world, it's the thing we're always moving towards. We're trying to get to that supreme consciousness. And so because I know that, when I'm looking at this card, I'm like, oh, that's the thing that's at the end of the tree. It's at the very top. That's the thing that I'm going to have to get through all of these 8 different blooms before I get to that. Now, if you don't know things about Kabbalah and the Tree of Life, then looking at this, you won't have that interpretation. You're going to make your own interpretation based on what you see in the card. And here's the great thing. nothing that you come up with is wrong. It can't be wrong, because what you're trying to do is, when I have a question in mind and I look at these images, what does my subconscious kind of bring to me? What does it see these images as an opportunity to bring up? And in that sense, if that's what you think of, if that's the result you get, the realization you have, then it can't be wrong. It absolutely can't be. And the worst thing you could do is talk to somebody about that realization who maybe is a novice in tarot, or thinks they're an expert in tarot, or thinks they're an expert in you. And they would look at that and say, no, that's not what that means. You're interpreting that wrong. That's the worst thing you could do in this process. So what I would recommend instead is get the deck, do a reading, do a couple of readings around some questions you have, and just get comfortable with interpreting, realizing there's no wrong answer. You literally can't do it wrong. Realizing the same way my answer was influenced by what I know about Kabbalah, your answer may be influenced by what you know about gardening, or about forestry, or about the TV shows Supernatural, or about working at a library, or about working in the service industry. Whatever your experience is going to influence how you interpret those cards, as it should. And so this is a way to put your imagination, your experience, your storehouse of ideas to work in just kind of getting to the bottom of you. All the stuff that your subconscious would say to you it's in there. Theoretically, you have access to it, but you just have to find a way to coax it out. And so tarot cards, or any divination practice, if you know how to do it, is a way to bring out that message. And so that's hopefully this was easy to understand. I don't want to say simple. I don't want to say easy, because I realize this work isn't easy. It's not simple, but hopefully I've presented it in a way that makes it easy to understand. I have an online school called the Deeper Awake School, where I teach things like this, specifically how to communicate with your subconscious, because I believe building rapport with your subconscious, being able to speak to it and hear back from it, is the way that you make your life as frictionless as possible. It's the way that you get what you want in life. It's the way that you make sure the path you're on is the path you want to be. And so what I've talked about here is just one way of doing that. If you have questions, I would love to hear your questions. Feel free to put them in the comments, or feel free to check out Deeper Awake and contact me through there. If you have disagreements, or if you object to anything I've said in this video, let me make it clear to you. I don't give a shit. And so don't put those in the comments. I will delete them. Can you delete YouTube comments? I don't know if you can or not. But if you can, and you disagree with something I said, I will delete it. You don't get to have a say in this, as far as I'm concerned. I'm like Twitter, and you're like Trump, okay? You're gone. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for listening. I'm talking as if this is just a video product, because I'm thinking about this podcast as a video product these days. But if you're listening just to the audio, as I know plenty of you do, wherever you're finding this, you'll see my email address somewhere too, below it. Contact me, reach out, say something in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. So anyway, thank you guys very much, and I'll see you soon.